Hello everyone, another publicly traded company just came out and announced they've officially loaded up on XRP as a treasury reserve asset. And here's the interesting part, word on the street is they might be putting it to work for internal payment flows and potentially even more stuff. I'll break all that down for you later in the video, but no matter what, this is absolutely wild for a coin that, let's be real, everyone kept telling us for years was done for. It's gonna disappear from the top 10 coins by market cap, and it's gonna nosedive to zero. Tank against the dollar, crash against Bitcoin, literally everything. That's the story those toxic Bitcoin maximalists wouldn't stop pushing on everyone. Except guess what actually went down? XRP scored regulatory clarity. It's clearly not a security. The whole war on crypto, that's finished. Now, we've finally got fair competition in the United States within the crypto space. And, well, what do you know? XRP is absolutely dominating, seriously flourishing in this whole setup. How many companies have we seen now, publicly traded ones, that have brought XRP on board as a treasury reserve asset? We've got to be hitting like a dozen, right? I really need to count them all up one of these days. It's definitely close to that, probably 10, 11, 12. I'm betting it's hanging right around there. There's honestly a ton of them, and some have even gone public saying, yeah, they're actually putting XRP to work for internal payment flows. And trust me, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Look at this headline from the Crypto Basic. Another company just dropped paperwork for 2 fresh XRP ETFs, an outfit called Granite Shares. Listen, the hunger for new investment products tied to everything in the XRP ecosystem is just off the charts, and every time one of these babies launches, it absolutely smashes expectations. We've witnessed this happen over and over. Like, take that firm Teucrium, for example. They unveiled their leveraged XRP ETF, and guess what? It turned into their most successful financial product they've ever dropped in their whole 16-year existence. That's not happening by accident, and just hold on, everybody. Stop and think about this. This is going to be totally normal the further we go. And look where we are right now, 2025. We're basically just seeing companies begin embracing this particular approach. And keep in mind that way. Under 1% of humans have ever owned XRP at any moment in their lives, and XRP is already chilling around $3. It's already blasted past an all-time high of $3.65 earlier this year. What do you think's about to happen when exponentially more people, exponentially more businesses, exponentially more institutions are building their own positions, stacking their own XRP bags? I mean, demand is literally going to skyrocket. If we're on the money and XRP keeps demonstrating real world utility, I mean, it's plain as day, folks. That's precisely why I keep hammering home that XRP is obviously an early winner of the crypto space. But before moving forward, I got to make something crystal clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I'm not your financial advisor, and you absolutely shouldn't make any buying or selling decisions based on what comes out of my mouth. Okay. So I'm scrolling through MSN. This headline hits me. XRP Treasury holdings just blasted past $11.5 billion because Reliance Global, yeah, the NASDAQ listed giant, just officially stuffed the token into their digital asset reserves. Like, pause for a second and let that sink in. Let me paint you a picture with some easy numbers here. We'll round up, make it clean. Let's call it $12 billion flat, yeah? Now, each XRP is trading at, we'll keep it super simple, about $3. It's hovering just under that as we speak, but let's roll with $3. Wait, hold up. Do the quick math with me. That means we're looking at 4 billion XRP already gone. 4 billion XRP just chilling in corporate vaults right now. And remember, there's only ever going to be a max supply of 100 billion total, and this is literally just a small group of companies sitting on it. This is the exact thing I was hyping up at the beginning of the video. Now stretch your imagination forward a bit. Time keeps moving, more companies jump in, institutions start piling in, regular folks like you and me keep buying, it's going to get gobbled up so fast. XRP is way scarcer than people realize. There's honestly not nearly as much floating around as you'd think. 100 billion sounds absolutely enormous, I get it, but here's the reality check. If we split up all the XRP evenly among every single person on Earth, each human would only get about 11 or 12 XRP. Almost nothing, people. I'm talking a measly 11 or 12 XRP each. Seriously, grab a calculator and see for yourself. We've got 8 billion people walking around Earth, right? So just do the division. That's literally it. Now look, I know it's never getting distributed like some kind of global giveaway. I'm aware, but here's why that matters. It shows you just how limited XRP really is. Just 4% of everything snapped up by this small circle of companies. Already gone. That's why I'm absolutely itching to figure out exactly how many companies are stacking XRP in their treasury vaults. Maybe 10? Could be 11 or 12. It's gotta be somewhere in that range. And this microscopic group has already locked down 4% of every XRP that'll ever be minted. Oh, and it's deflationary by design. A small amount of XRP vanishes with each and every transaction processed. So literally every morning you wake up, there's less XRP on planet Earth than when you went to bed. Like, doesn't that just stop you in your tracks? Isn't that realization kind of mind-blowing? For me, it absolutely is. All right, so Reliance Global Group dropped the official filing back on September 30th. Their press release specifically mentions that scooping up XRP comes after they'd already loaded up on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano for their treasury. The big dogs right now, SBI Holdings, Trident Digital, and Weebus International, they're the massive institutional players dominating the space. XRP currently ranks as the fourth largest crypto by total market cap, and it's crushing it as a bridge currency for moving money across borders internationally. Reliance views the addition of XRP and other leading digital assets as an extension of its broader strategy to merge innovative technologies with its established strengths in insurance and financial services, according to Ezra Bayman, chairman and CEO of Reliance Global Group. Now that statement right there, I think it's fueling all this buzz about XRP potentially being used for way more than just parked treasury holdings. Oh, and real quick, I should mention I couldn't nail down a concrete official figure here, so I'm honestly unsure where this number came from, or whether it's educated guessing, or perhaps somebody uncovered an actual source that just wasn't linked correctly. But according to Crypto Basics reporting, Reliance apparently invested $17 million worth of XRP to launch their treasury holdings here. Maybe that's legit, maybe it's not. Just had to put that out there real quick. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that number is 100% verified, but what we can confirm without a doubt is they definitely grabbed some XRP. That's out in the open now. Everybody knows it. But here's the $1 million question. Why did they grab it? Dude, this is hands down the coolest part of the whole story. They scooped it up for reasons that literally have zero application to Bitcoin, none whatsoever, because Bitcoin fundamentally can't pull off what XRP pulls off. Bitcoin simply doesn't pack the same high-level technical firepower that XRP has baked in. And check it out, it's actually the utility plus those technical specs both working together. That's precisely why Reliance wound up loading XRP into their treasury reserves, into their entire digital asset game plan. So Bill Morgan from the XRP crowd dropped this bombshell and said, "This is what a NASDAQ-listed public company sees as exceptional and why they grabbed a massive amount of XRP." Then he hits them with the sarcasm. But sure, I'm guessing some XRP critics believe the company skipped all their homework and filed this documentation with the SEC just to deceive everyone with their lawyers cheering them on. Obviously, he's messing around a bit there. But peep what he's highlighting right here. Check this out. XRP is currently sitting as the fourth biggest cryptocurrency by market cap and gets heavily utilized as a bridge asset for cross-border payments designed for enterprise-level use. XRP delivers, and they break it down into 5 key points. First up, speed. Transactions generally finalize within 3 to 5 seconds flat. They're straight up pointing to XRP's technical capabilities as justification for why it's worth holding. That's their actual reasoning for holding it. It accomplishes what Bitcoin physically cannot. Full stop. Second point, affordability. Transaction costs run fractions of a penny, which makes it incredibly practical for tiny payments and people. That is genuinely accurate. XRP transactions are so insanely inexpensive, you'd think they were handing them out for free. The only reason there's even a microscopic fee and nobody pockets it, it literally just vanishes into thin air, is solely to block denial of service attacks, those DDoS things. That's the whole purpose, and here's how it works, okay? The more you try flooding the network with junk, the costlier it gets for you. So you're really just shooting yourself in the foot. And the second that weirdness stops and you quit bombarding the network, boom, everything resets to normal instantly anyway. You're not going to win anything by attempting that nonsense. But for regular everyday users who aren't trying to break the network, transactions are so laughably cheap they essentially are free. Is that a feature people actually want? I mean, duh, obviously, yes. Third point, liquidity and financial institution adoption. Ripple's collaborations with major banks globally and payment companies are fueling real-world use for international money transfers and liquidity solutions. Fourth point, scalability. Cranks out over 1,500 transactions per second. We're talking speed that goes toe-to-toe with legit traditional payment infrastructure. Guys, this is all capabilities Bitcoin straight up cannot deliver. And I keep pounding this drum because those toxic Bitcoin maximalists desperately want you believing XRP is worthless and undesirable. Yet here's a publicly traded company literally declaring, actually, no, these characteristics are phenomenal. It's all basic logical stuff. You and I totally understand this. How on earth could any of this not be attractive? But these toxic Bitcoin maximalists are trapped in some weird bubble universe where they just regurgitate these absurd narratives to each other constantly. I genuinely believe some of them wind up drinking their own Kool-Aid, but to suggest that none of this actually matters, oh man, get out of here. All right, number 5 coming at you, energy efficiency, baby. So the XRP ledger consensus, it sips energy like it's nothing compared to those power-hungry proof-of-work blockchains. And listen, that's not even an exaggeration. The XRP ledger literally uses such tiny amounts of energy that people actually call it carbon neutral. Do I lose sleep over that stuff? Not exactly, but I'm telling you, the numbers don't lie. Like, it genuinely is that insanely efficient. But seriously though, why would anybody pick the energy guzzling monster? Why settle for the clunky, inefficient version? Look at it this way. There's two technologies right in front of us, both living in the exact same timeline. Technically speaking, yeah, they both function just fine, but one is ridiculously faster, one is stupidly cheaper to operate, and one barely touches any energy whatsoever. I mean, virtually zero. So wouldn't you naturally grab that one as your go-to? It's honestly a no-brainer, and don't even get me started on XRP being one of the OG pioneers out here. That's such a massive edge in this game. Gotta love it. Seriously, you gotta love seeing it. Oh, and check this out too. So Bill Morgan drops this take. Dude's been throwing around some theories about this company maybe jumping on the XRP train. He's saying this company has always been about insurance brokering and agency work, right? So here's the thing. It's totally reasonable to wonder if buying up all this XRP and other crypto might connect to some bigger vision they have. Maybe tokenized insurance policies, payment integrations. It's kind of the same vibe we're seeing with pharmacy companies and travel businesses that grabbed XRP and started dropping hints about payment integration through the XRP ledger. Honestly, I'm scratching my head a little here because I don't know what tokenizing an actual insurance policy would even look like. But if they actually pull the trigger on that, man, I'm going to be glued to my screen watching how they execute it. What he's spot on about, though, is that other companies are already balls deep into using XRP. Check out this example. It's wild. August 15th, 2025, Logistics debuts XRP payments for independent US pharmacies. This isn't just some company hoarding XRP for fun, they're putting it to work. We're talking thousands of American pharmacies that can now settle prescription drug payments using cryptocurrency through this fresh blockchain system powered by the XRP ledger. Logistics Health built this thing. They distribute prescription drugs and handle digital prescription routing for more than 6,500 pharmacies, and they teamed up with RXERP, a pharmaceutical software company. What these companies are saying is pretty straightforward. Pharmacies can pay for inventory and shuffle money around, while everything gets recorded on the XRP ledger. It's basically giving them an escape hatch from old school bank transfers when they're buying drugs wholesale. Now, guys, why on earth would they do this? Come on, it's because it makes life so much easier. Look, here's the reality. Wherever there's some middleman taking a cut, in literally any industry you can think of, you need to be asking, can blockchain just do this job instead? And hey, if you are that middleman, maybe start asking yourself some uncomfortable questions. Just wrap your head around the insane efficiencies we're unlocking here. We're talking transactions so stupidly cheap, and I'll keep beating this drum, they're basically free at this point. Speed, lightning fast. We're talking effectively instant, and the energy consumption, it's laughably low. All this combined, yeah, it just feels like a no-brainer way to run things, and guess what? They've already figured it out. They're going full steam ahead with this, and it's not some pipe dream, it's live right now. Independent pharmacy owners are light years ahead of what people assume, Brian Norton, logistics CEO, threw out there. They recognize the sheer force of blockchain technology and totally understand how game-changing this becomes once it ripples across the whole industry. Logistics is claiming their system plays by all the rules: healthcare compliance, financial regulations, HIPAA privacy standards, anti-money laundering requirements, you name it. So guys, just by leveraging the XRP ledger and XRP tokens, you're capturing massive efficiency gains. Even if that single advantage, just that one thing, was all you got, it'd still make total sense. And that's precisely what's unfolding right before our eyes. Plus, you've got this whole other layer, because let me tell you, there's absolutely zero shortage of real, authentic, ground-level enthusiasm surrounding XRP. This juicy headline comes straight from the Crypto Basic. Granite shares files for 2 new XRP ETFs. Here's when they could go live. All right, folks, so Granite Shares, that global ETP issuer, they've gone ahead and filed paperwork with the US SEC, basically begging for permission to launch these 3x leveraged ETFs connected to XRP. So they dropped this filing on October 7th, and what they're proposing is 2 shiny new leveraged XRP ETFs. The names: Granite Shares 3 X Long XRP Daily ETF and Granite Shares 3 X Short XRP Daily ETF. Now listen, here's where things get absolutely crazy. These bad boys are designed to give investors triple the daily moves of XRP, which means, yeah, your wins and your losses get multiplied by 3, like seriously multiplied. Think about it this way. Imagine XRP crashes 33.3% in a single trading day. Anyone who's holding that Granite Shares 3 X Long XRP ETF, boom, their entire investment vanishes into thin air. Now, reverse that scenario. People holding the 3x short XRP ETF could watch their money disappear completely if XRP shoots up 33.3%. Look, I'm going to be real with you. Personally, and this is just me talking here, I want absolutely nothing to do with this stuff. Seriously, on a personal level, I'm never going to mess with leverage products, period. But here's the thing. What I want doesn't really matter. There are grown adults out there who get to make their own damn choices. Even if I personally think they're making silly ass moves, that's their right, And if they want to use leverage and take these massive risks in an asset that's already super volatile, hey, go for it. I believe people should have the freedom to make their own choices as adults, whether those choices are smart or totally bonkers. And just because I would never touch a product like this myself doesn't mean it shouldn't exist for others. There's clearly a huge crowd of people who want exactly this kind of thing, and not just for XRP, for tons of different coins out there. Personally, I'm way more excited about seeing spot XRP ETFs finally get the green light because those are actually backed by real XRP holdings. But you know what? Either way, this is genuinely good news for the whole XRP ecosystem. It's gonna expand the reach and put XRP in front of way more eyeballs globally. Even if it's just by a little bit. I'm not claiming this is the ultimate holy grail or anything, but hey, it's one more thing added to the pile. The more products like this that keep showing up, I'm just over here like, yeah, absolutely. Let people have the freedom to do their thing. Me, I'll pass every single time, but look, there's obviously insane demand for this stuff. This article even talks about Tucrium, the one I mentioned way earlier in this video. They rolled out a leveraged XRP product, and it turned into their biggest, most successful product launch in their whole 16-year run. So yeah, people clearly want this bad. There's literally no debate about it. But here's why I keep hammering this point. The second we see multiple spot XRP ETFs hit the market, you better strap in tight, because I honestly believe the adoption rate early on is going to catch a ton of people completely off guard. Trust me, it's coming down the pipeline. So yeah, that's what gets me really hyped. But seriously though, isn't this just screaming at us that there is genuine organic hunger for products like this? It's so incredibly obvious it hurts. XRP is crushing it as an early winner in crypto, end of story. You've got all this wild momentum happening, plus multiple publicly traded companies now stacking XRP as a treasury reserve asset. Rewind just 1 year, and that would have sounded like pure science fiction nonsense. Imagine telling some bitter Bitcoin maximalist back then, yo, within a couple years, we're probably looking at almost a dozen publicly traded companies hoarding XRP in their treasury, and they would have straight up roasted you, laughed until they cried. They're out here saying, no chance. If any crypto makes it big with institutions, it'll be Bitcoin. Only Bitcoin's worth holding in their treasury. Yeah, well, they couldn't be more wrong. Look, I'm not saying Bitcoin isn't getting love, because it absolutely is. Companies are loading up on it left and right, but that gets me excited. We're already seeing tons of companies holding XRP right now. And dude, we're barely getting started. This is exactly where those hardcore Bitcoin purists get it completely backwards. Know why? They're stuck with a bad case of XRP derangement syndrome. But hey, we've had it figured out all along. I mean, come on. It literally could not be any more obvious at this point. So real talk, I think we're genuinely about to experience something extraordinary here as this cycle reaches its peak and these spot XRP ETFs finally get the stamp of approval. Mark my words, it's definitely happening. From where I'm sitting, it's virtually guaranteed, like 100% certainty, that approvals are coming through this year, period, end of story. Man, oh man, what a fantastic time to be an XRP holder. I'll leave it at that. But hey, quick reminder, I'm not your financial advisor here. Whatever you do, don't buy or sell anything because of my commentary, yeah? That would be an incredibly, ridiculously, epically terrible decision. Peace out. Catch you next time.